The Lakers began this season as the favorites to win the Western Conference.
We have no chemistry with any lineup. What is our starting lineup besides me and Russ and AD?
Frank Vogel said it the other night. He said, we're out of time. And that's the truth for this team.
It looks like this Lakers team has honestly quit. It seems like they've quit, and they disrespected the game of basketball.
They could be one of the biggest disappointments in NBA history. Period.
It's embarrassing. And the only reason the Lakers are relevant is because of tradition and history. No wonder Magic Johnson quit on y'all asses.
According to the standings on ESPN.com, the Los Angeles Lakers are currently not only out of the playoffs, they are out of the play-in game, which is of course not only a disappointment, but I mean, this is kind of absurd. We knew this team was not going to be an elite team somewhat soon, but to not even make the playoffs when you have a core of 3 future Hall of Famers surrounded by a core of veteran Hall of Famers, well, that is straight up embarrassing. There's no other way to put it, especially because the Lakers have a tough schedule to close out their year, and it is really looking like they might miss out on the play-in game. So what has caused this? Because it can't just be Russell Westbrook, it can't just be LeBron James, it can't just be Anthony Davis's injuries. The Lakers' problems are of course that, a collection of problems. However, if there is one thing we can point to, if there is one thing we can look at as the root of all of these problems, well, I think we have to look at a huge statement that was made by Malik Monk, who has basically, despite having a solid season, been the Lakers' punching bag this year, because as Malik Monk put it in an article titled "Why Malik Monk Could Be Too Good for the Los Angeles Lakers," and Dave McMenamin did not mean in terms of on-court talent. When Malik Monk was describing why him and Austin Reeves were so close, he said the following: everything. Ups and downs, rookie wall. Older guys yelling at the rookies because it's their fault. Everything they do, it's your fault out there because they know everything and you don't. And when you mess up, you just got to take it. You got to deal with things like that. I talk to Austin almost every day. Did we just hear that correctly? Malik Monk just said that the Hall of Fame veterans on the Lakers team not only get on the young players when the young players make mistakes, but also when the Hall of Fame veterans make mistakes, they blame the young players too. Now, I really cannot sugarcoat this. I have to say, Malik Monk's words here are casually some of the worst I have ever heard when it comes to an NBA team's environment. And we will get into why in a second, but let's add further to Malik Monk's words here, because as we continue on, personally, I'm a big actions over words guy. And so while words are great, I do want to see the actual actions taking place. But before we continue, guys, I want to give a huge shout out to Geek, because look at where I am sitting right now. The Nets and Geek completely hooked it up. I've got a mini vlog of the experience to show you in a second, but I've just got to say, it is always incredible to watch Kevin Durant in person. Being able to watch from this close really was an incredible moment.
Shout out to the Nets. I'm putting on the KD jersey right now. For KD. For KD. Oh, all right, Josh. Josh! KD already is 21 right now, first half. Let's see if he can drop 50.
And so as you guys can see, this game was amazing. I had an incredible time. I was able to bring my fiance Angela. She's amazing. She had an amazing time as well. And so thank you to the Nets and SeatGeek. Please guys, make sure to go click the link in my description and use code 2KMike for $20 off tickets to the Nets or any other event on SeatGeek. And with the Los Angeles Lakers, to say that this team looks bad would be one of the biggest understatements of the last 10 years. And shockingly, I do not mean they look bad on offense or defense, which they have looked pretty bad at. But what I do mean is that the Lakers' body language specifically is absolutely awful, which really is no big surprise to me at all. LeBron James and young players have never really mixed as LeBron has gotten into the second half of his career. When it came to the 2018 Cleveland Cavaliers, we saw what happened when the Cavs blew up their team and traded for young players such as Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr., and Rodney Hood. Now you can put this on the players if you want, but none of those 3 young guys were confident enough by the time the playoffs came around to make any real impact at all. These were 3 core guys the Cavs were relying relying on if they were going to win the NBA championship that season. And when they got to Cleveland, the pressure was so extreme, both from the media and from LeBron James, that by the time the playoffs rolled around, not a single one of Clarkson, Nance, or Hood was a starter, and all three played less minutes than 31-year-old George Hill, 31-year-old Jeff Green, and 36-year-old Kyle Korver. Things got so bad with these three young guys that when Rodney Hood had a 15-point game in the NBA Finals, it was considered a near miracle. Look at what happened to Jordan Clarkson, a man who just won 6th Man of the Year last year after averaging 18 points per game, and more importantly, a man who is a true bucket getter. He seemingly has unshakable confidence. During the playoffs with the Cavs in 2018, Clarkson shot 30% from the field and averaged 4.7 points per game. In his 2 other playoff appearances in 2020, Clarkson averaged 16.7 points on over 46% shooting, and last season, Jordan averaged 17.5 points on 41% shooting, which you could chalk up to the youth of the players involved, I guess. I would give someone that if a pattern had not been established clearly after by LeBron James, because already in LeBron's second stint with the Cavaliers, the message was very clear. Trade away young players and draft picks for veterans. That is who LeBron valued. The 2018 trade deadline move was actually the Cavs front office acting independently without LeBron because they knew there was a chance LeBron was gone. Look at how the young guys responded to that. Then 1 year later, would anyone say that LeBron embraced that young Lakers core that included Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Josh Hart along with Kyle Kuzma? Of course not. All we heard all season was that these young players were going to be traded for a star like Anthony Davis, which they were. Now, of course, that ended up working out great. The Lakers won an NBA championship, but the problem here was that LeBron did nothing to shut down these rumors. Instead, the Lakers missed the playoffs, which meant with a young team, LeBron broke his own streak of missing the playoffs every single season since 2005. Again, a pattern is forming here. Young players and LeBron do not mix well. From there, we saw last season how guys like Kyle Kuzma and Alex Caruso did not exactly thrive for the Lakers and have shown that they are capable of doing much more when given bigger roles. Then we have this season, we have the body language, we have Malik Monk's comment, and we have this. The reason for why this is such a problem goes beyond the Lakers veterans. It has more to do with LeBron himself. The reason this is such a problem is that LeBron James brought this veteran talent in. They came to play with LeBron. Melo has even said that LeBron told him it was finally time. So it is quite obvious, we don't even need to argue this. These Hall of Fame veterans came to play with LeBron, and LeBron has not only allowed this type of negative energy to build and fester all season, but he has been a huge part in adding to it. By the way, guys, hope you're enjoying this video, and I do want to say, if you are enjoying this type of content, please subscribe and turn on post notifications because I make videos exactly like this one, and the NBA playoffs are coming up. We are going to have so much to talk about. I cannot wait. So make sure to subscribe, make sure to turn on post notifications, and now let's get back into the video. At the end of the day, LeBron James is in the same position as both Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant in that LeBron, because he is a generational talent, has so much power over not only his own front office right now, but the entire team's culture in general. For the Lakers to achieve success at the highest level this season, we always knew that certain things needed to happen. We knew AD needed to be healthy for the playoffs. That could be a wash at this point. We knew Russ had to play a lot of games this season to help ease the offensive burden for LeBron. Russ has played those games, you know the results. The thing is, we also knew, it was talked about plenty of times, that the Lakers' young talent was going to have to step up and develop, that some of their young guys were going to be put into key roles come playoff time. It is that simple. So of course, the obvious move here would be to really spend time working with those young players, to build their confidence up and to show them that you are a leader they can depend on off the court and on the court. I think the perfect example of someone doing this right now in a different city is Kevin Durant, another NBA legend, someone who could be very, very angry right now because of the whole James Harden situation and because of the fact fact that Kyrie sat out half the year, and because Ben Simmons is still not playing for the Nets this very moment. KD could, and KD actually has every right to be furious with this situation. He has chosen to spend his last superstar years with the Brooklyn Nets, and since doing so, things have not been ideal. But watch Kevin Durant on the court. Go back and watch him this whole season. KD has been nothing but a consistent leader for the Brooklyn Nets. It is that simple. He picks the young guys up on the court. He hypes up his teammates when they make big plays. He doesn't roll his eyes at mistakes or get extremely and noticeably frustrated. He is there for his teammates both on and off the court. Everyone says so. KD has taken this entire season where the Nets have had something like 500 different starting lineups in stride and has actually said he has loved the challenge of trying to play with that many different lineups. Kevin Durant is the superstar legend you want to have in your locker room right now. He is someone young guys can come to and someone young guys don't have to be afraid to let down. I cannot, at this point in time, say the same thing about LeBron James. But if we look at guys like Jordan, when they held a locker room together, yes, there were horrible situations like the Kwame Brown one. That was just not right. The thing about Mike though was that he said it on ESPN. Michael Jordan would never ask you to do something that he didn't do. Same with Kobe. We saw Kobe's demanding ways cause some serious conflicts with guys like Dwight Howard. However, Pau Gasol developed a serious tough edge to him after Kobe would not let up and got into his head and basically forced a situation of get tougher and we could win a title, or stay this way and we'll lose. Pau did get tougher. We all saw it, and the Lakers won back-to-back titles, and the point remains there. Kobe did not ask Pau to do anything he didn't or wouldn't do himself. You can have a problem with Jordan or Kobe's methods, but the results on the basketball court speak for themselves. They were leaders who led by words but also by actions. And I know LeBron James is an incredibly hard worker. He is someone you can look at as a young player work ethic wise and legitimately strive to be. I just personally cannot believe how bad this Lakers situation has gotten, and I'm very interested to see what happens in the future from here. That is possibly a video for another time though. For now guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely comment your thoughts down below, and if you're new to the channel, again, it would be awesome if you could subscribe and turn on post notifications. That way you never miss a video. It's almost NBA playoff time. We are going to have so much to talk about. I am so excited. If you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome. We all know it. And as always, guys, have an awesome day, and cue that music. If you're still here while the music is cued, here are two videos I think you are definitely going to enjoy. I mean, personally, I think the one on the left might be more your style, but the one on the right looks pretty awesome too. Click one, let me know what you think. And again, have an awesome day.